I go down there once in a while. Used to represent the Buckley School District for a good while ago.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. We get everybody to rise to say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hupkey. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. March.
Here.
Mr. Hack.
Here.
Mr. Forsythe. And Mr. Cross.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum present. We can proceed with the meeting. Public comment and/or questions for any non-agenda item? If not, we'll move on to item A, a resolution of the Village of Peotone, Will County, Illinois, to designate approved depositories and signatories. And this would be resolution number 15-R04. Is there any discussion on this resolution? If there's no discussion, I'll take a motion to adopt resolution number 15-R04, a resolution of the Village of Peotone, Will County, Illinois, to designate approved depositories.
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Hack.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Hack.
Yes.
Mr. March.
Yes.
Mr. Cross.
Yes. Item B, approval of job announcement for publication for village administrator position. At the last meeting on Thursday, we had a discussion in regards to the job announcement. And in your packet, you have the semi-corrected version written out. I think all of the numbers have been, as far as like population number, budget number that we were talking about, have been checked and verified. Does anybody have any?
Well, only a couple things. I think the original copy that I had a typo when I was kind of putting this all together. So the first sentence, would seek a full-time administrator to serve a growing and residential. I think we don't need that "and" in there.
Okay.
And then,
Growing, comma, residential community.
can we put your email address on there too for inquiries?
Mine?
Yeah, or somebody's, or the mayor's, or
I would say that the clerks would be the appropriate.
in case somebody had a question.
If I was applying for this job or was considering it, the first question I want to know is what it paid. How are we going to handle that? I know it's commensurate with experience, but if a guy comes up and says, hey, you know, I've been working for 8 years, I'm interested in your position, possibly, where are you talking about on salary?
We had this discussion on range, at the last meeting, and I think the only solid answer we could give anybody was the last salary, that was paid.
Where you're starting at, and then down here where you're talking about.
But we never really established a start. I mean, in the original draft, there was, a couple numbers there, and then I think there was a couple trustees that had a concern with having that in there.
I mean, if a guy's 100 miles away, it's like, hey, is it worth my while to come up?
Right.
I'm making $87,000. How do we respond to him so we don't? So number one, we look professional, like we know what we're doing.
Right.
And number two, so we can have a communication with them.
I understand your point. I'm trying to come up with
Yeah.
a.
And I don't know how other places do it, but I mean,
Well, quite often they'll give a range, but you could certainly authorize the clerk to advise as to what the salary was of the prior administrator, if you'd like to do it that way.
But would you want to start somebody out new there?
No, not necessarily. That's
it'd be one thing if it was a college graduate trying to get the first job and
Right.
kind of kowtow to whatever you need. It's another thing if you're talking to a 5 or 10 year veteran that's, where am I at, what am I,
Well, I mean, and again, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a range, you know, and I
That's
mean,
the most typical.
not necessarily, we don't necessarily have to put it in here, but if we can give that information out, you know, we can say the range that the board has discussed is the $65,000 to $85,000 range. If we give the, you know, the staff that guidance, you know, to answer that question when they get called.
Have we projected how many responses we may get? Good idea.
That's,
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, I was doing some investigating, and I was looking at other villages' ads and stuff, and, you know, tried to look at some of their websites, and I did find one small town in, by the Quad Cities that is similar size to Peotone, and their newsletter, they said they were, had gotten 38 applications for the job, so, I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't get something similar, so.
My point being with that question is, not that we can't disseminate the information we say, but would our first point of contact be better to talk directly to you? Like, you don't have enough to do, but, I mean, if somebody calls, they're fishing, and you might be able to feel them out a little bit more, or, you know, just.
no, I would be happy to, if anybody calls and wants to speak, I mean, I would be more than happy to, you know, if you took that message, to make a phone call back.
So then shall I change this, send inquiries and apply to village president, and then put your email address there?
That's fine. No, I think they should go to the clerk. I mean, don't you agree, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is done differently, but yes,
Right.
the clerk is one person who often gets.
I think they should go to the clerk, but if there's any question, or if there's anybody that wants to speak with someone further, they can certainly give me that information, and I'll make a phone call back.
Okay.
But I think the best flow would be to go to the clerk.
And then, I mean, do you want to say start, not put it in here, but just tell.
Right, not put it in here, but I
say,
think
or-
the answer to that question, I think that $65,000 to $85,000 range that we talked about at the last meeting, I think that's a good range. If we find ourselves looking above that, I mean, that's, I think, at the discretion of the board. I think below that, I don't think, you know, we're gonna be, I think that's a good starting number, you know, for a community our size. Any other?
Well, you asked me to look at where we should post
Yes,
these
yeah,
ads,
we were
so
talking about that.
I had put together, again, just making some phone calls and things. Kind of the big three sites are the Illinois City County Management Association. They don't charge for members, I assume we're members of that.
I believe we are members of several.
And then the International City County Management Association, so that's just the, I don't know if it's worldwide, but it's definitely, you know, throughout the states. That's the most costly ad. If we're members, it's $450. I mean, and then the Illinois Municipal League. And then these other ones are just ones, you know, neighboring states that I found. And then I also contacted some of the colleges if they had job site for alumni. And two of them responded back to me, Northern and UIC, said they'd be happy to put them on their alumni, you know, sites. They have job boards, so. I think, you know, if we hit those top three, that probably would cover, you know, I think we'd probably hit everybody, and then if we want to send, you know, notice those job boards too, and I think that would be good. And I was also, there's a lot of other colleges around the area that have, you know, the public administration program, and, you know, I'd be happy to, you know, if we approve one of these, the job listing, I'd be happy to, you know, send emails to those programs.
Other trustees?
I think the only other one maybe that we might want to add, I don't even know if they can do it, is that Illinois, the mayors and managers thing that we just joined.
Oh, the South Suburban?
Yeah.
Mayors and managers.
I don't know if they can, if they post like this or not, but
Yeah, we can certainly check with them and see.
other than that, I think he's done an awesome job.
So do we need to?
I think we need to make,
authorize
yeah,
something?
I was just waiting, is there any other discussion about the announcement itself?
Are we're gonna put it in the local paper as well?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we should.
If we're gonna give them the information on, the salary range when they call, are we also gonna give them the residency requirement? Are we gonna decide how far?
I mean, I think what I had heard was the school district. I mean, I think that was kind of the consensus of the board the last time. So I think if somebody inquires about that, I think that would be the answer.
I wouldn't bring it up, though.
No, but if somebody asks.
If they asked, but
Well, the other thing,
I would say that the discussion was, you know, within the bounds of the Peotone 207 School District.
we're gonna have to change our, the ordinance or whatever was made to create the village administrative position, because it says right in there, it says there's no residency requirement. So at some point,
I'll take care, I can
Yeah.
take care of that then.
you know,
And
Amend the ordinance.
we also
It's
need to
school
amend
district
the committees, if that
Good bond.
new committee's gonna be a standing committee. That's not on the list in the.
personally, I'd like to see.
Okay.
in the village would be nice,
I wasn't
but you better.
gonna bring it up until we started making
Right,
ordinances.
right, no, exactly. That's fine. Do you have that too, Jim?
I'm sorry, no, I missed that
Donna
one.
Donna had mentioned the new committee that was formed on Monday night, the Community Development Committee,
Yeah.
to add that as a standing committee.
Got it. Okay.
So is there any other discussion on the job announcement?
I move to accept. Do you need a motion?
And then, yeah, we'll make a motion to accept the job announcement as written with the one correction, and we're gonna publish it in the Illinois City County Management Association, the International City County Management Association, and the Illinois Municipal League, as well as the local papers, the local Cornerstone Media papers, and any job boards that we can post it to, college job boards, and checking with the South Suburban mayors and managers to see if they have a site, you know, that can be listed on also.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Dr. March, or trustee March, seconded by trustee Jones.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
And Mr. Buck?
Yes. Okay, that leads us to item C. We're going to be doing some interviews this evening, so we're going to need to go into a closed session to do that, and that would be a closed session for the purpose of
The employment of specific employee.
motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Hack, seconded by trustee Jones.
Mr. Hack?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. March?
Yes.
Mr. Press?
Yes. So we will be going into, Kevin, you want to turn the camera? So we will be going into closed session. There will be no action that I'm aware of taken after coming out.
That's what you guys said last time.